You.
What's going on, fatherhoods?
Yo. Big week so far?
Yeah, man. I had back-to-back drink champs. That puts a strain on the dad life.
Absolutely. You know what else puts a strain on dad life? Having to tell harsh truths to your kids. So I had that experience this week. I don't know if I actually talked about it in the previous episode, but I've been having some like strife with a family member and kind of came to the decision that in order for that relationship to work between us, both of us would have to change pretty radically. And right. I don't think we're at a stage in our lives. Like I think we're past that stage to be able to actually mold each other or mold or bend to fit kind of the with each other. So I just decided, like it's not worth it. I explained this to them, like how I felt and all that stuff. And I was like, this is taking more out of me than I think is worth it. So it puts me in an awkward situation every time. I think is we're gonna call it quits for a little while. Like we don't need to see each other for a bit. And my kids are really close to this person too. So like as I'm getting to this coming to this decision, I'm like, I'm thinking about all the ramifications of it, right? So like my personal relationship, how that messes with the family dynamic generally, and then how that impacts my kids, my household. And so methodically, I'm thinking, all right, I gotta do what's best for me and my family. Me not in my best is not good for my family. So I need to disassociate myself. So did that. Then the next step is like explaining it to my kids. So that's the harsh truth, right? Because like I can't like run around pretending like there is a relationship when there isn't, or it's frayed. So I need to be able to communicate that. And that's where I was struggling for a couple of weeks. Like, how do I tell a 16-year-old girl, a nearly 10-year-old boy, and a 7-year-old girl that their father decided this relationship no longer worked and they're distancing themselves? And I had to be very calculated and like really honest about what the situation was and why I decided to do what I did, but also in the context that a 16-year-old could understand, that a 10-year-old could understand, and that a 7-year-old could understand. And I was surprised at how well 2 of the 3 took it. I haven't done it with the last one yet, but they were understanding, which is all I could ask for, right? They weren't like combative. Again, like this person is near to them. And I never want that relationship necessarily to be impacted by my decision, but I'm aware that might be the case. So, I'm very like, that relationship for me is not working out, but that doesn't mean that y'all can't have one, as you move forward. It's just going to be difficult because we're not going to be in the same functions and the same space very often.
Funny how we don't make those, or at least it seems that way, that for our own mental sanity, we don't make these kind of executive decisions for ourselves until later on in life. You know what I mean? We spend all this time fucking around in situations and with people that, aren't healthy for us. And we put up with it. And then at some point, and it's usually later on in life, we decide, you know what? Fuck, yeah, this is not, I'm going to clear myself of this.
I think we lived for a long time just under what society says is cool, right? And I don't know if we ever escaped that, but we kind of just follow that pattern for a long time. And then we let that be the routine and then kind of ignore how we feel. Or in our case as guys, and I think you both can attest to this, you almost question what you really innately feel. Like, and you chalk it up to like, I'm being a punk right now. Or like, like a sign of weakness. So we bury it instead of like acknowledging it and allowing that to be what helps us make our decision. So in my case, like it's been a monkey off my back. Like I could safely say like, I feel like I did the right thing, even though that's a very challenge. Like I struggled with this for a long time, and I'm still struggling with it. Like I'm not like, fuck that dude. No, it's not that kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm like, I think it's best for both. because we're always at odds. It can't be good on their end. I know it's not on mine, so it's better for the both of us to just chill for now.
I think it's a good lesson for the kids too when they understand and see it, and it's not like, you know, it helps them hopefully understand that they can make those kind of decisions, you know, sooner than later, not with just family, but friends or whatever they're dealing with. If they know internally that this is not for them, or it's causing, you know, toxic shit in their life, that they can change it and don't have to just put up with it.
That's where it got a little challenging for me, because the example in this case, you could look at it like, yo, my dad just made it okay to sever relationships with my cousins, my aunts and uncle, my brothers. Like, it doesn't matter. Pick
Right.
family member. And so I had to be very intentional about the explanation, and also like what that means and how to compare it to their relationship, you know, their relationship with family members. Not missing the point of like, yo, if it's hurt, if you feel like it's harming you, then you need to take action and like sever it for your health. But otherwise, like, if, you know, for instance, if it's your siblings, like, y'all gonna get on each other's nerves. You got to know how to manage those things and like call it quits when you need to, because it might get to a place where you have to. But for the most
when it's
part,
right.
yeah,
but
for the most
family's weird. I mean, that's the beauty of friends, is that, you know, you can pick them, right? And then when you
Right.
find tight friends, and it becomes family for you, as opposed to you're born into a family, and just because everyone is so-called family or so-called blood, that we're supposed to all get along, and, you know, you're supposed to like all these people. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't roll like that.
No. But then also it's like, when is it the right age to, like, you're saying that there's a good lesson for them to learn. But like for me, having a 2 and a 4-year-old, about to be 3 and a 5-year-old, my situation is my father. We have an estranged relationship. We've had an on and off relationship my whole life. I tried to I always told myself, if and when I have children, I'm going to try to put aside my differences with my father, and because I want my kids to have a grandfather, because his father, my grandfather, was such a great impact in my life, and someone that I love dearly when he was around. And so I wanted my kids to have a grandfather, grandparents. Unfortunately, everybody else, well, unfortunately nothing. I'm thinking of my grandparents. But so but on my girl's side, her parents have passed. So unfortunately, yeah, they don't have that. So it's just my mom and then my dad. Issue I've had is that I went out of my way when my daughter was born to connect with my father so that he can have that relationship. And I would go to him, but then he would never make the effort
Mm-hmm.
to try to like really
Mm-hmm.
build that relationship. And then even when so that kind of like faded out at a point. Now the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I understand that. But then my son was born in the pandemic, and there wasn't much outreach on his end. And like the onus is on me to like go and try to like take the kids to him. And I'm like, you know what? I just can't do that. Like, I'm not going to force this relationship. It's unfortunate because I think even though he would probably want it. And so now what we have is this text relationship where I pretty much mainly 99.9% of the communication about my kids to him is from me, or I just send him pictures every once in a while or any milestones, make him aware of it. And he's just like, nice, cool, great picture. They look great. They look healthy.
Yeah.
Very short conversations.
Yeah.
And so what's weird for me at this moment is, as my kids are getting older and they'll be watching something that has grandparents, it's already sad that we have, that at some point very soon we have to explain, well, 2 of your grandparents on this side are not around. Now it's like, how do I, and my dad, mind for anybody listening, my dad actually lives just a few miles away from me, but he might as well live in another country the way, the way that we haven't seen each other in years. So it's like, how do I explain that to my kids? Like, oh, you have a, grandpa. And yeah, he's not too far from here. Like my daughter doesn't even remember.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't remember that those interactions with him.
Hey, whenever my son makes like those kind of sees something and says, "Oh well," or a friend has a certain dynamic and it's maybe not the same as our dynamic,
Right.
it's actually a teachable moment of just reinforcing like, yo, look, everyone's situation is different. The families are all different, just
Right.
because this person's family operates this way or thinks this way, or lets your friends do something a certain way, or whatever the case may be, or that's them, right? And that's not us. So
In your case, E, like, there's part of me that's like, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, as far as, trying to make some sort of connection between your kids and your dad. There's another part of me that's like, maybe the onus is on us, right? Because I have, not as, I'll say, similar situation with my father. Like, we're not estranged, but we're not as tight as a father son would prototypically be. And so I know I carry a lot of like resentment toward a lot of the ways he showed up as a father when I was younger. And so I have, particularly like on an accountability tip, like for me, it's a really strong sign when you say you're going to call at a certain time or be there at a certain time, and then you never show up, or you don't even like give the courtesy to be like, yo, I'm going to be late. Right. And so I hold that grudge, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, to your other points, like, I don't want me to be the blocker. I don't want to be like, yo, I never had a relationship. I don't want them to say, I never had a relationship with my grandfather because my dad didn't try. And that might be perceived as such, right? Like, oh, sending text messages. They don't know what the hell that means right now. And they might just see it as they're, we don't see him. So we
But how
assume.
am I blocking if he's not?
I don't think you are. I'm just saying in my case, that's how I look at it. But I think there's, again, like, there's an accountability thing, and maybe this has something to do with that generation of people, right? Because I think for my father, and I suffer from this too, but I think more so in that generation, you got a lack of emotional intelligence, like way further, way more serious than I think we might, because like we've evolved a little bit better than they have, and so there's in my father's case, I'm sure that there is what's the word, like he's I almost want to say it in Spanish, but like
Say it in Spanish.
nah, I can't say it in Spanish now. I forgot the word.
Say it in Japanese.
Oh, ashamed. There's
Right.
probably some shame in the way they were as a father. Oh, I can say that for my father. I can't say that about yours. And I think that might lead to not wanting to force, in my father's case, like, being on FaceTime more often with the kids or like whatever. But at the end of the day, being in the same room with these kids is going to be the best way to forge that relationship. And that's incumbent upon them to try to help you figure out the way to do that.
I would also say that I think, but don't get caught in the cycle of overthinking it too much, because at the end of the day, our kids are with us and around us. We're like the main source, whoever's in the household, right? And it could
Right.
be extended family, it could be a very small family. Just speaking in generally, those that are in the house on a day-to-day basis, that's your kid's life, and those are the folks that they're going to be closest to. And if they, I think we probably romanticize it so much in our head where we feel like they're going to be so upset because they don't see so and so all the time, when really, they're happy to see whoever that is, but it's not like it's fucking with them day by day, because that's not the day in day out person that they are with in the house all the time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, for me it's complicated, it's tough, but I don't really overthink it, because for me it's like I've already gave up on it. I'm like, it is what it is. But at the same token, in terms of my mental health and relationship with my dad, I've forgiven him a long time ago, and kind of like love him from a distance, and understand, what this guy's gone through in his life, and kind of like just get it. I get it, and we don't need to do more with it. I just feel bad for my kids just because of the relationship I had with my grandfather. Like, it's so crazy. So I respect and love my grandfather so much. My son's middle name is my grandfather's name. That when I told my dad that, I would think he would be so proud of that.
Right.
That he was like, why? Why would you do that? Like, he's like, I don't know if he said that's a terrible name, but he was just like, he definitely was like, why? I'm like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, that's your dad. I'm paying homage to him. Like, he obviously meant something to me. Like, it's wild, man. And and for my kids, like, I really, like, I have in my house, I have which is funny that my dad even gave me this, but my dad knows I've always been into like history and war, and always was like into the fact that he was in the Vietnam War. And so he gave me a frame that he did for himself as well, that has like all his record from the war, and like, all his decorations and medals that he won in the war, and a picture of him, and like the battles that he was a part of, like the things that happened.
Yeah.
And I had that framed up in my room for a long time, just because I'm proud of him, like I'm proud, and it shows, something that he overcame. And I don't know, I use that for myself, and I want to be able to tell my kids like this is kind of like your grandfather's, like, there's a history. He was a part of history. He came in this program called Peter Pan from Cuba, which is in history. Like, he went to, he fought in the Vietnam War. He volunteered for the Marines. And I would love to be able to explain, and I feel like I can't, because they're gonna be like, who is this guy you're talking about? Like, who? We have a grandfather? Like, they don't even know about this guy. I'm like, oh my God. And this guy lives right there.
All you could do is what you could control at the end of the day. Like,
Right.
it's good though that you're not holding any grudge.
Nah.
That's dope, because I can't say the same. Like, I know I'm holding grudges, and I know that's not good for me. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I guess it's just being a fucking dumbass. Like, not being able to just like, all right, fuck it. Let's keep moving.
I feel like it's the way you got to look at it is, it's really, they have you got to feel bad for them. Like, I feel bad for my pops. Like, I'm like, damn, bro, like, you went through so fucking much shit. What he must have, the emotional baggage that he must be carrying around is crazy. So I just feel bad, and that's why I could forgive him, because I'm like, bro, I can't imagine going through what he went through.
Yeah.
It just sucks, man. I really wish. And then to make it weirder, like, he'll text me random. He'll be like, what do the kids want for Easter? And I'm like, oh, fucking Easter, right? Like, I didn't even respond. And then, like, now my kids' birthdays are coming. Oh, so what do they want? What do you want me to get them for? Or what do they want for their birthday? And in my head, I just write back, like, first of all, I'm like, bro, stop being weird, man. Like, like, what am I supposed to tell this guy? So I'm just like, they don't really need anything. If you want to maybe contribute to their piggy bank, and then I was like, whatever you want to get them, bro. Like,
right.
And there's been times that I think one of the past birthdays that I've invited him just to see, like, I kind of tried. That dude didn't show up.
Is there like a having him and your mom in the same room? Does that cause conflict, or are they like able to get along if they were?
It wouldn't cause conflict. It'd probably be hella weird more for him, if anything.
Right.
My mom, I'm sure it'll be weird for her, but I think it's more for him. And just to be fair, technically he's handicapped now.
Okay.
By the veterans, like, he's supposedly, like, he gets full compensation.
Right.
So it's not as easy for him to, like, move around as it used to be. And he has the dog,
whatever
for PTSD.
Yeah.
Sport
like,
dog.
Everywhere he goes, he has to roll around with this humongous dog, and he doesn't go anywhere without it. And so that's also an issue, like, to have him come places.
And you don't have to. You don't deal with anyone from his other family, right?
He has his lady that his wife, I guess. I don't even know if they ever married, but and she would pop up instead of him, like pop up on us, and we were just like, no, like no.
I don't even know you like that, lady.
Right.
No. Like she popped up when my wife was giving birth for my daughter, like popped up, and we're like, yo.
Wow.
What did you broadcast where you guys were at? That's weird.
She like investigated and figured it out and found out and like honed in on where we were at, and it was a birthing center, so she could actually like pop up.
Why do you think she took it upon herself to do that?
I don't know, man. Maybe she felt she was representing my dad.
You think she feels
maybe she's
guilty on his behalf
nosy?
or something?
I don't know. I don't know, man. She's interesting lady. Yeah, I don't know, bro. But yeah, ultimately, I just wish my kids could have a grandparent of sorts and have the memories and that I have of having grandparents. I had my grandma on my mom's side and both my grandparents.
Uh-oh.
Okay, it's not just me. He
Yeah.
just phased out. Sorry about that, gang. The beauties of freaking technology.
I think he'll be back in a sec.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
in case he's not, something did spark a thought as he was talking, taking it back to like when my first kid was born.
yeah.
And so, people that are close to you and are concerned, they're like checking in on you and whatnot, and text messages and stuff. And at a certain point, you're just like, yo, I can't even focus on that. Like I gotta, dive here. And so I had pre-written a text message so that once the baby was here, I could just hit send, right?
Oh, if someone popped up on your text, you just drop it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I already had like a group of people I was just gonna fire off a
Right.
text to, and I misfired, and somehow before the kid was here, I sent it to everybody.
You did?
Oh, and then it
Really?
it caused even bigger calamity at the end of the day. So
what the
it was
fuck
like
happened there?
Stress on top of stress. You're back.
Did I freeze in a good freeze frame?
I don't know. We gotta look.
It was like an action shot. It was good.
Okay, you want to finish your thought?
No,
You
I think I said it all.
I was just sharing a quick story about birth of my kids, but you can listen to it in the episode.
I definitely won't.
I know that very much.
I'm in a depressed state today.
Why, bro?
Today is the day that my son went on that overnight trip.
Oh.
Wait,
so he comes back tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
I didn't know about this trip. Was I not here when you guys talked?
Oh, yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Give Manny the footnotes.
So the quick version is there's this, his school is wrapping up soon, and I guess he's going into middle school, and they do this like tradition at the school to go to like an overnight camp, as school ends near all that whole grade. And so today was the day, and this is the first time that he's ever slept over or been away from the two of us overnight.
Oof.
So both of us are just like, what the fuck?
And how is he doing? Or how was he? Was he excited?
Combination of the two, nervous and excited. Like at first when he heard about it, I think we all were like, nah, because it was so far away. We're like, nah, fuck, we're not doing that shit. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. and then as it started getting closer and it starts getting hyped up, then he kind of came back with more of a confidence of like, you know what, it's probably going to be fun. I can do this. And I was still like, oh, God. He's like, what should I do? And at first I was like, I don't think you should go. Right. But then I just kind of shut up. I mean, it's not something that I really wanted him to do, nor did my wife, but we were both like, you know what, if he's feeling confident about it, like let's let him handle this.
I think it's gonna be good for him.
And then last night and today or the whole week, it's just been like, oh fuck. And then and today it was like, oh god.
I think that's cool though. It's tough. It's tough to just be okay with it, 'cause all the shit that you hear about that could go wrong and all that stuff, which is, I mean, it's concerning. Like that's not fiction. Like the shit.
Yeah, 100%. It's less nervous about that, whatever kind of shit happening. It's more of just like, I mean, obviously I've been away from him when I go on trips, and my wife has had to do that as well. But we've never had him away from the house from the two of us ever. So,
Yeesh. All right. Well, we're here to help you through it, bro.
Yeah, make sure you text us tomorrow when he's back home safely.
Yeah.
And tonight, y'all should just enjoy it. Like, you're gonna be. It's like, you know how
sexy time.
But you know how, and maybe
like
you don't.
Empty nester style, because I guess we're getting our first glimpse of what being an empty.
You guys should
nester
get
is supposed
shit
to be.
faced tonight.
Okay. After this, take all your clothes off and walk around bucket naked in the house and just be free, bro. Just embrace
Take a shit in the kitchen floor.
Right.
Take that, adulthood.
Hey man, look, we're raising kids, but we're also going through our own like transitions and transformations.
You're transitioning.
Maybe.
Have your kids? I'm assuming your oldest has spent the night somewhere else. But what about your youngest kids?
She has, but like twice, and it was like all hands on deck. Like my wife couldn't sleep, all that kind of stuff. It's not our thing. Like similar to you, like we're not comfortable with that. But I know. So because we've allowed our oldest to explore that, I think once we hit a level where we can trust our kids, enough, I think we'll be okay with it with, certain scenarios, right? Potentially certain neighbors that we're really cool with, certain family, that kind of thing, but not just a blanket like, yo, go crazy.
Yeah.
And I think what he's doing is way better than sleeping over somebody's crib.
Yeah.
In somebody's crib, you're like in their world with, you don't know their family values. At least this is like a school thing that they do all the time.
Yeah, at least it's a little bit more of a even playing field. Yeah.
That's dope though. Good for you, bro. Getting out of your shell.
Yeah, man.
Because I know you be like, you be giving them fake choices. Like, yeah, you could make your choice, but if you do that,
right. I'm not controlling, right?
You're guiding him.
I love the VR joint when he had the opportunity to play VR, and you were like, nah, maybe you shouldn't do it, because he was questioning whether he should.
Made me feel like a terrible parent because my daughter was rocking the VR at that one place like it wasn't shit.
Oh man.
All right, boys. Well, this was therapeutic for me, so thank you very much. I must go now and conquer the world.
Ya tú sabes.
All right.
Pizza.
Later.
Con pepperoni.